Okay, what is up, guys? Welcome to Devs today we are going to be learning some basic Java and variables and data types. And for my IDE that I'm using the JetBrains IDE. And go into Google and type in either Java IDE, or you can come to where this website is that I'm showing you now and download it by clicking here. Downloading that community version because it's free, it's amazing, and JetBrains does great stuff. So, start off, we got to create the project. And you do that by going to File, New, Project, and then you see this. Make sure you have your JDK downloaded. If not, there's a bunch of videos on how to do that. It's super simple. You should be able to it should download it for you if you don't have it, but if not, go to another video and find that. But click Next, and then for this, I'm going to name it variables because we're going to be working with those. And like I said in other videos, variables and data types are just a way to store data. Imagine like you're moving from one house to another. You're not going to put your clothes and your dishes in the same box. You're going to have a box for your clothes. You're going to have a box for your dishes. You're going to have a box for your games, a box for your dog toys, and they're all going to be named and organized properly. And that's exactly what we do with variables. So, next thing we're going to do, and where this SRC is, you're going to right click, click New, Package, and type com.example. I'm going to name it variables. And so after that, you're going to want to come and right click on that folder we just made and click Java class. I'm going to name mine main. So in your main, you need a public void or public static void, but if you want, you can just type PS and this PSVM that pops up, just press enter, and there you go. And just to see how you can run it, come over here to the little green triangle, press run, and then you'll see it's going to say build. Unlike Python, where it just runs right away, you have to compile and build. So you can click on this and see what it's doing. It's taking me a second because I have a bunch of other stuff going on. But you can also come over here to your terminal, and anytime you have to print something to the console, you'll be able to see it here. So for our first variable, we're going to start with something basic, and it's just going to be a string. Now, Java, just like in JavaScript, you got to tell the console and the program what kind of variable you're using. So you want to type out string, capital S, and then you want to put the variable name after that. I'm going to call it my variable, or my var. I'm going to set that equal to make sure you use double quotes. I'm going to just say hello. And then a semicolon after that. If you don't use a semicolon, it's not going to run. And then I'm going to say nice little shortcut. You see, look. So now that we have that little print right there, we want to print our variable. Just like in other videos and other languages, you got to give it the variable you want to print. My var. Okay, so let's run this, go to the console and see what happens. So it printed out hello and just ended the program because there's nothing else to do afterwards. But let's look at what happens if we put a single quote real quick, just to show you what will happen. And just first of all, notice you get this red underlined. That's a no-no. You don't want to see those. That means there's an error. So if you press run, it's not going to want to build. And if you've watched my Python video, or you know anything about Python, Python will just start running and then read the lines of code. JavaScript, and other languages will read the code and then run. But see, so we get this error, Java unclosed character literal, on line 524, line 5, and then if we come over to right here, this is 525, and that right there is 524. So let's change those back to the double quotes. And also, like I said, you need a semicolon after every line or it won't run. So if we delete this semicolon and try and run it, let me show you. So as you can see, it says Java expected that semicolon, and we're getting this little red line right here. That is a good indicator. Anytime you get a little red line like that, or on this side some weird little code shows up, you can normally go check that out. If it's not red, you don't have to worry about it, but still probably fix it. So our next of data type is going to be integers. Integers are whole numbers, just 1, 2, 3, 5, -7, -34, anything without a decimal. And just like with our string, we have to give it the data type. So that's an int. This is a lowercase I, and then our name for our variable, let's call it my int, is equal to 5. And since this isn't a string and there's no characters in this, we don't need those quotation around this number. And again, let's print this out. I'll say s out, and then I'll give it our variable name, which is my int. And let's run it, look at our console, see how that works. Awesome, we got 5. Our next one is going to be floats. So floats are numbers with a decimal, 1 point, or 1.5, 5.5, 9.7, anything with a decimal in it. But if you notice, I have this F after it. Otherwise, it does not like it. There's no red line now. If I delete that OF, no red line. Or if there is an F, there's no red line. So on that, we get 5.7. Nice. Now, we have another weird one. You're not going to see this in Python or JavaScript, but it's a byte. And it stores whole numbers, but smaller whole numbers and ints. In Java, you have different types of numbers and data types. Those data types want a certain size byte. They want to take up so much space on the computer. That's a big thing in Java. I'm not sure why. Probably another video. Doesn't matter. But it's a certain size, and so for our byte, we can go -127 to 127. If we have, let's do 129. Let's see what happens. Okay, so first we see this red line. We already know that means it's not going to run. Let's try 128. Not going to run. 127. It likes it. And you can also do -127. Let's try 128. Okay. And 129. Doesn't do it. So, different data types will only hold a number of a certain type. It only wants to take up so much space in that box. You know, like before, when you're putting stuff in your box to move from house to house, it's only so big. They can only hold so much stuff before they want to break. Another one is short. So short will hold from like -32,000 something to 32,000. And it's a little bit weird. Oh no! It's going to be weird to remember this. I will put a link to W3 Schools so you can see it. It's a great website to remember and keep yourself up to date with what's going on in programming languages. And we're just going to make 333. It's too big. But if I do 32, then it's perfect. It'll still work. Another one we have is long. Now, long will store a giant number, a long number. But, again, this isn't infinite either. So, just keep putting 0 after this if you want to count them. But, there you go. You see, it gets read after, I don't know, however many characters. You can only put certain certain amount of characters into this long data type. Another one we have is double. This is good for storing, I believe it's up to 15 decimal digits. So, like when you have float and you want to show a decimal, it'll only do a certain number of places. And if you want to see more decimal places for whatever kind of math, whatever you're doing, if you want more decimal places and more exact, say 5 point, just type a bunch of random numbers in there. And then we're going to do float my not int is equal to 5 point. There we go. You see, it doesn't want to hold that. It's too many. It's stressing itself out. It doesn't know what it is. But so if we look at float and we say my not int because it's not an integer, and we say equals, we're just gonna say 5 point f real quick, little semicolon. But see how many places it'll hold compared to this double. So we got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So up here we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, and 12, and 13. Let's print out my not int and see the difference. So out, and we're gonna say my not int, run this. So you can see we got all the way to this last 4 on our double. So it looks like we have a larger floating point number, a more accurate number if we're trying to do math. And for our float, it stops at the 7 right here. As you can see, it goes way past 7. And if we want a more exact number, then we don't want to use float. Another one we have is a Boolean value. And if you've seen other videos I posted about learning variables and stuff, or you already know programming language, you know Boolean is a true or false value. So if we say Boolean, and we're give it a name of testy, we're gonna give it that, and we say it's equal to. I put testes because I was thinking test, and now it just sounds weird. I'm just gonna keep rolling with it, but I'm gonna say true. Then it likes it. It wants a true or false value. But if we say Boolean and we try and give it a number, it doesn't want it because Booleans look for true and false values. So if we say false, it'll love it too because it's a true or false value. It just wants if it's right or wrong, yes or no. That's all that Boolean wants. And our last one is a char. Now, char stands for character, and this will only hold a single character. So if we say char, but car is equal to double quotes because you need double quotes for any type of string or letter in Java. And let's say J, put a semicolon real quick. Okay, so our last data type is, and only hold a. So unlike the other string data types where you use double quotes, you use a single quote for this one. So let's say char, I'm gonna call this variable car, is equal to single quotes. Don't forget your semicolon, and we're gonna put J. So it likes that, no error, but oh no, there's more than one. We get this error. Like I said, char only wants a single number or letter. That's all it wants. There is a basic variables and data types.